All right. All right, we're off and running. Hey, welcome to tonight's podcast, Season 2, week number 5. It's pretty good.
Week 5.
Week 5. That? It's going by fast.
Crazy district start.
It is. It is. District time for a lot of teams. Some teams have open week. Some teams have one more week or two before district. Some teams are about to start it. So,
and the weather's a lot nicer out here tonight.
Daggum right. And I put down some fly spray, so maybe our flies won't eat us up. As always, Frank Johnson, retired football coach / going back to put Coach J's barbecue back in the coaching business. I'm currently at Old Park Hawk, which alma mater, and of course y'all all know Rudy Hawkins, former City View Mustang and salesman to the masses.
Yeah, game 1, baby.
He's getting rich. He's got his game 1
staying busy.
And Zach Duncan, our special guest this week. Of course, a lot of you people that are TRN people, y'all remember Zach. But Zach, tell us what you're doing these days.
Yeah, so I am in my first year coaching at Memorial High School. I was at Ryder for 5 years. I do at Memorial. I do yearbook, newspaper journalism, also coach soccer and tennis. We're in tennis season right now. Just had a big win over Vernon last night. And I started, I'm not writing for the TRN these days, but I started my own Substack. It's kind of like a website newsletter called Red River Roundup. And if you're interested, you can subscribe to that. I have a free and then a paid where you get to see everything. I've been writing 3 or 4 stories a week, covering a game, kind of writing some analysis after the game, and then kind of some, like this week I wrote a little bit on these districts starting. So kind of just offering up my, I love writing about high school football in this area. So.
Well, what's not to love about high school football, especially if you could add in some barbecue. Now, keeping with our, I guess, 5th week, we're going to talk a little tailgate food. And this is so simple. Since it's still dove season and football's going on, combine barbecue with dove season and football, and you come up with one amazing shotgun shell. Can y'all see that? It's pretty tasty.
Really, really good. Really good.
And it's easy.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them how you did this?
You know, before football practice got going, I always take some manicotti shells, and I cheat just a little bit. I take a pan of boiling water and put a little olive oil in it and some salt, and I parboil those manicotti shells. I just soften them. I don't cook them. I soften them. And then, meanwhile, I multitask. A lot of women can't multitask, I've noticed. But I multitask. I take some cream cheese, and I took, so last week we had armadillo eggs. So I took my leftover Jimmy Dean sausage, and I put it in there with a little whole leaf voodoo. And I about decided I wish I'd put a little cheddar cheese in it.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I thought it was really good.
But holy voodoo, I put my rubber gloves on, and I just mixed that sucker up. Got it, everything, all the seasoning on that. Smoked cream cheese with seasoning is so good. Yep. And it just, so I mixed it all up, uncooked the Jimmy Dean sausage, breakfast sausage is uncooked, and I mixed it up real good. Then I stuffed it in the manicotti shells, and I wrapped it in bacon. And when I got home from football practice, I fired up a smoker real quick, 275, and I put it on for 30 minutes, and then I rolled them so it cook even. Another 30 minutes, then I meant to turn off the fire, but I didn't do it, choke it down, but I forgot about it. I got distracted. So I guess my statement about women can't multitask. I was talking to Rudy about how to make barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
And
Some good barbecue sauce.
I glazed it with my Coach J's Gridiron barbecue sauce and just let it sit there. And about the time you showed up, we took it off and enjoyed a little nice snack in the pregame snack in the cook shack.
Yeah, I thought they were very good. I've never had those before, so I was.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there for the beginner cooks out there that hadn't done a lot of barbecue. I think you putting them in that boiling water to soften them up and put it in there is key.
Yeah,
part of it.
The other part is when you wrap them in bacon, you want to get as much of that covered in bacon as you can because that the fat in the bacon helps cook those shells. Otherwise, they get real crunchy and they're not very good. I just use cheap bacon. I don't like spending it, but you probably really need to put a thicker bacon so it stays together.
Yeah, and it'll keep that manicotti noodle soft. That's what I was telling Zach when we got here. The hardest thing on cooking those shotgun shells is the fact of getting it. It's so easy to get too hard by overcooking or too hard by undercooking. And that bacon wrapped on there does a really good job with it. But I think when you soften that thing, that's a brilliant idea to do. That way, when you get it in there, it's kind of already started the process.
Yeah, it's already started.
It doesn't take a long time to get that breakfast sausage cooked, and then the cheese, of course, is just going to melt. So, but they're very, very good, very tasty.
You can use any kind of sauce you want to, but I just make my own. I make it by the gallon, and it tends to have good results. And I just glaze it. I think you can overglaze it, but it's just what it is. I love stuff like that. I hate to admit it. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, and I may have to get those guys to be the pallbearer at my funeral because they're always letting me down.
They're taking some months off your life right now, probably.
I love the Sunday now that I'm coaching again, I'm having to work Sundays, but I enjoy especially Sunday night football or Monday night football and having little tailgate snacks when my son Jack, especially when he comes over, because he loves pro football. We'll stack on something like a shotgun shell and watch pro football, and it's a great night.
Yeah.
And now it's cooling off. We can do it out at the cook shack.
That's a very simple recipe for somebody who wants to try it. I recommend trying it because it's simple, but it's very tasty and filling.
Yeah.
I had 2 of them, and I'm really, really full.
Well, and the other part is almost everything. The original recipe I stole off YouTube.
Sure.
I saw, like everything I did in my coaching career, I steal it and then I adjust it to make it my own. And so little bitty things, you don't have to season it the way they do on YouTube. If you got a favorite seasoning, put it on the daggum cream cheese. You make your own sauce, put it on there. It works out. And as long as you like it, that's the person that counts. So,
for sure.
I'm impressed you make your own sauce.
Oh, yeah. I have been making my own sauce since I was probably 18.
Oh, well.
The original sauce was my mother's barbecue chicken sauce, and I feel like I have improved on it. No offense, Mama. But I watched her make barbecue chicken forever, and I just kind of copied her recipe, and then I adjusted it to what I feel like makes it even better. Like, for example, I'm going to chop up my onions really fine, as small as I can, and then I'm going to put garlic in it, and I'm going to a little bit of oil, and I'm going to saute those onions till they're almost transparent. And then I start.
If there's any listeners, you might want to be writing some notes down. Because I'm telling you, this barbecue sauce, you better not give all your secrets here, because that barbecue sauce is second to none.
To me, anytime you can saute an onion, it just gives. I love salt. I hated onions growing up. Now I really like them, but a saute onion to me is fantastic. You can do so much with it, and that's the start of all my barbecue sauce is sauteing an onion with garlic, and it makes your house smell so good.
For sure.
And if you hang out with a barbecue guy, you either smell like sauteed onions or barbecue and smoke. So it works out.
So we have a shorter week this week, huh? I mean, we have some teams going on a bye. We have teams starting district, and then teams finishing out their non-district schedule. It always seems about this time the weather starts changing, districts start coming around, everybody's getting amped up for the start of district, and
80s mid-80s feels a lot better than 100.
Yeah,
it's a big difference. Yeah.
And I'm sure that's on the tennis court or anywhere outside practice.
That's a big win. Vernon's won how many state championships?
Yeah, Vernon.
I'm jumping.
No, you're good. Yeah, Vernon's always kind of. We never beat them the last 5 years at Ryder. They're not. Her son graduated. Kale Castleberry graduated. They're not quite as good as they were last year, but it was still a good win for us. We're gonna play Legacy next Tuesday. They're good. We're good. We're playing for a playoff spot. So next Tuesday, big match.
Yeah, that'll be good. Inner city matchup right there. Already starting a rivalry.
Yeah, first time. Anybody, they haven't played in volleyball or football yet. So
where's that game going to be?
At Hamilton Park.
That's what I was wondering if y'all go to neutral.
We're going neutral. Our courts aren't ready yet. Their courts aren't ready. We didn't want to go to Ryder. We need lights. This is going to be one of those matches where we're finishing up right now, kind of like in the dark, I think. So
that's a good deal. Still pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going to give you props on your little roundup deal. If you haven't gotten out there and saw what he's doing, you
how
guys.
How do you get a subscription?
Let's talk about that because it's worth it.
Okay, so it's a website. It's redriverroundup.substack.com. You could probably just Google search it too. I don't think you have to type in that exact thing, and then you basically put your email in, and you can become a free subscriber or a paid subscriber, and then you get the email. So if I'm having a story get posted in the next hour, writing about 6-2A and their coaches, what they think about the district. You get it emailed to you. So it's not like you have to, go online every day. Yeah, and you can go online and do it, but you can get this if you become a paid subscriber. Every story I do, it's emailed to you.
A guy that's doing a barbecue football podcast ought to subscribe to that.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying it will. It is. I feel like I covered the area. I feel like there's some enlightening things on there. I've covered. This is my 23rd year covering the area. So covered before you were here. Covered. I mean, I guess you were probably at Quanah, I bet.
Yeah. I think so.
The 2004 Indians, that Stratford game, first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You were there. I was there.
That's right. I remember. I'll never forget that game.
Should have won probably.
Should have won that game. Yeah. And they go all the way to the state championship game
and lost 40-35. If I'm not
Stratford,
Bushland or was it Bushland?
Big Sandy.
No, yeah, it was somewhere East Texas. Dangerfield, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it might have been Dangerfield.
Stratford's always had
But yeah, it's well worth it. Well worth going. I've always thought, Zach was one of the best that I've ever read.
I'll be signing up tonight.
Let's go. We can, as soon as we get done, I can show you how.
And next week, this will be even better. The knowledge will be oozing from me.
Yeah, I respect what you and Hull's done with TRN. I know we've had some great writers coming through when I was younger. I remember seeing those guys write and everything else. But you two are right there with all those guys.
Changing times. I still miss opening the sports page on
Saturday morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I always look forward to it at the coach's office. You'd have the newspaper and you'd go see it. And at that time, a lot of times that's when you found out how everybody else did. Yeah. It wasn't as easy to get to. So. I do. I miss that. That.
You can find out right away. Wow, they ran for 350 yards.
Personal story. When I first became a head coach, and I lived out in West Texas, I go get me an Abilene paper on Sunday morning, and I'd be the first one at the field house. It'd be quiet, and I'd give me some cherry cinnamon rolls, heat them in the microwave, and sit there and read the sports page about because it would pick up more games that wasn't included in Saturday and just read it cover to cover. I loved it. I guess I'm old. I don't like reading the internet.
I grew up in Dallas, and Dallas Morning News, that was every 6 a.m. Dallas Morning News before I go to school every day. When I was in elementary school, seeing how the Rangers did, seeing how the Cowboys, late at night, how did the Mavericks do, all that stuff. So even though I'm not as old as y'all, I'm still old enough to really appreciate a well-run newspaper.
Pretty close to the same age.
Yeah, we're really close. Yeah, to you. But I remember those late nights at the field, and you're still up in the press box, lights on. Yeah. You're still trying to get your story and get it in time, and things like that. I talked to Hull about that, and he goes, "Well, really no deadline."
No, it's so crazy because even the last couple of years when I was writing for them, it's I guess I'll drive home from Jacksboro, and then I'll sit down, I'll make myself some food, and then I'll, talk to my wife for a little while, and then I'll start writing.
Yeah, I still, after the game on Friday night, I start scrolling Twitter to look for capsules.
Yeah.
And it is ultimately the reason I first went to Twitter so I could
Keep up with stuff.
keep with games faster.
Yeah.
Besides for the people on the blogs, I really love the Friday night app.
Yeah.
Dave
Oh, yeah.
Campbell's app.
Yeah, the Dave Campbell's app's
I
great.
don't like seeing the people
That don't have an idea.
I hate reading that crap. It just makes me feel bad.
I just remember you used to really, and y'all too, I mean, like, I would have to drive to the office and then I'd get in and I'd be like, all right, let me see the score sheet. Because I would have no idea. If I was in like Vernon or somewhere, they had that West Texas sports show.
Yeah.
So if I was in Vernon, I could catch it maybe when you're in Quanah.
Yeah.
You could hear some scores that way. But unless I was that far west, like, I had no idea. So I'd come home or come to the office.
You can't even get Friday night scores anymore on the radio.
Yeah, I don't even know if that show exists
I
anymore.
don't know either. That was how we would try to find out, though.
Yeah.
I used to do that a bunch too. Turn on the radio and start listening for every area score.
Yeah.
And and you guys always did a really good job, and MJ and Tobin and all those guys, they do a really good job of those wrap up shows now.
Mm-hmm.
And our kids have really appreciated seeing the newspapers and seeing what you guys have to say.
If would invite us to the Friday night wrap up, maybe I'd bring barbecue. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Tobin, I would suggest throwing out the invite. He's still got your number, surely.
It's got to be an Hour Park home game.
Yeah,
I can't make it.
You could get there right before they go on, and you could get on a segment.
Yeah.
Well, Hour Park bye week's coming up.
I mean,
maybe
and
they're on it.
I don't even know if he told me what he wanted to eat, I might make it. Who knows?
Who knows? Might have. We've had him out here.
I know it.
Might have to return the favor for us.
I mean,
Him and MJ.
I do have a face for radio, but I don't have the voice for it, so I don't know. All right, let's start the schedule. Memorial is open.
No.
I got that wrong?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who they got?
Abilene Cooper at home.
Ooh,
on Friday.
Cooper Cougs.
District opener, and I think it's a pretty big one.
How good is Cooper?
Cooper is, I believe, 2-2 or 1-3, but they've played some tough teams. They played Abilene High real close. I think they barely lost to Azle. They've been in every game.
Well, there's 3 times a year that you can't really pick a winner. It's first game of the season, first district ball game, first playoff game. I've said it for years. Because everybody's 0-0.
Yeah,
that's right.
It doesn't matter if you're 4-0 or 5-0. You're 0-0.
And you look at it. It's hard to look at non-district schedules and really know where somebody's really at.
Mm-hmm.
There's some teams that maybe hadn't been very good, and they got a pretty good schedule, and they look better than they are, and by record-wise, and then you're like, oh my, look who these guys are.
It's starting to feel out the pretenders from the contenders. But
so I'm excited about this.
I think it's
Cooper game.
I think it's one of the best games in the area this week.
I do too. I feel the same.
Is that over in?
At Memorial Stadium, yeah. If you don't have a game to go to, that would not be a bad option
I'm going
for you.
scouting.
Going scouting, okay.
I'm going to go scout.
Who are you scouting?
Peaster.
Okay. Bowie Peaster, I believe, right?
Yeah, Bowie's pretty good. We'll get to them, but for a job that was just supposed to be part-time, it's turned into a full-time.
He's scouting on Friday night in Peaster, Texas.
Well, find you somewhere good to eat, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, we'll get to Owl Park, but I'm not, along with every other Hawk fan, I'm not happy about our record. So I'm going to try to do my part to improve it. And if I can go scout and get better, and plus I like scouting.
Yeah. People don't do it as much now, I feel like, but in person, obviously you just get the huddle.
Well,
but you still pick up a lot of things, I think, doing it.
Yeah, and now scouting is more on your bye week.
Mm-hmm.
You go scout.
Yeah.
The rest of the time you have all your guys with you, and you scout on video.
Yeah.
Back when I first started, if you were a junior high coach, you were gone to a Friday night game somewhere, and you were scouting. And you were going to try to pick up, some of the things, you're trying to get snap counts, try to get close enough here, snap count. What's their snap count? What's some of their audible calls? Can you pick up a signal?
And it used to be fun. I mean, I love scouting, but always old coaches would play jokes on the young coaches. They say, hey, the young coach, go down and get the snap count for City View. Well, how do I do that? just walk down the field and find the head coach. There's Coach Hawkins right there. Go down and ask him. So, that young first-year coach
Oh, no.
bebop down the bleachers. And, Coach Hawkins, I'm Frank Johnson from Holiday. What is y'all snap count? I'm supposed to take it back. It's always fun.
Some good stuff. Good stuff.
I love scouting when I was a young coach, and I kind of missed it as an older coach, but I get to go scout this week, and I'm going to go watch Peaster. There's some other games that honestly I'd like to go to, but that doesn't help me win Iowa Park.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
I got you.
So who's some players to watch from that, Cooper? I know you kind of have all this information.
So the running backs from Memorial are playing well. Kenji Johnson and Powell.
I just have a hard time trying to find a school with that good of two running backs.
I mean, it's very rare. I can't really remember a lot of times these last decade or so when you got two guys like that.
Yeah,
Powell was at Wichita Falls High School last year.
All-state kid as a freshman.
Kenji was at Ryder, and he had coming off a 1,700 yard year, and so. And they got a pretty good quarterback too, but like last week, he only needed to throw 70, 80 yards. Like they can win by only throwing 100 yards because they can rush for 400.
Yeah, the week before he throws 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you can run the ball, that passing game really opens up.
Yeah, and it's just that they have a really good combination. I like Memorial's group. I really do. I like what they got going out there, and we knew that. Coach Bendel and those guys are doing a great job. I love the development that so far of Joe Castles.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a Power 5 quarterback before he's all said and done.
He's a tall rascal.
He is. He fits the build. His arm strength's just going to get better. He's well coached. He's just going to continue to get better.
He's got the eye candy taken care of.
Yeah, and the best thing is that run game's going to make him better.
We're going to make him better. He works really hard, like all summer up at Ryder for workouts. He's the first one there out of every other sport, every other guy. The other day, my mom was in town, and I showed her Memorial High School. She hadn't seen it. She lived in the Metroplex. And it's 8 o'clock on a Monday night, and guess who's playing basketball in the gym by himself? Castle, So like he's that type of guy who will put in the work.
Yeah. So I like what they got going, and I'm picking them in this game. I like them.
Well, they're hometown. We got to go with hometown.
Yeah, hometown or not, I like these guys.
Cooper been scoring a lot and giving up points. I think they're averaging 37, giving up 30, and so I think it could be a point-C type of game. Like, I don't think this is a 28-21 type game.
No, I think it's going to be high scoring. I think the defense clamped down.
Cooper doesn't have a Dominic Rhodes type guy.
Well, actually, they had a really good running back who transferred, and there's a long story about it, but he's at the school that just beat DeSoto. Who was that? A couple weeks ago. North Crowley. He's at North Crowley this year for his senior year. Stuff happened, and he found his way to North Crowley, and he had 150 yards against DeSoto the other day. So that is their stud running back. He's not with them anymore, but they do have some good. I think their first year quarterback starters playing pretty well. And so I think this is a 4. You got to score in the 40s.
Yeah, it's a different game. I'm used to seeing Mark Bendel's teams are always really, really solid defensive teams. I'm not saying they're not solid defensively. I'm just saying they've given up more points than they're normally accustomed to giving up. But their offense is so dynamic. And sometimes when you get a dynamic offense, your defense relaxes a little bit because they're like, well, they're going to score.
The other side of the coin, if they continue getting that run game going, they're going to quit giving up as many points.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'm such a believer in complementary football. If you can keep the ball from the other team and give them less opportunity to score, you're a better football team.
Yeah. So if you're in Wichita Falls, I think this is a game, probably the game to go watch in the area for sure. So I think this is going to be a good one.
All right, so Memorial it is.
Memorial it is.
Right. So apparently I got off on my schedule, but I'm Legacy at Wiley.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, I got that right. Wiley 2-2. They lost to a really good Stephenville team, and
they're actually 2-1 because they didn't play the first week. They got rained out against Brownwood.
All right.
Oh, that's right. That's why Brownwood ended up going to Wall.
Yeah, a weird deal. So they've only played 3. Everyone else in this district's played 4 games. Wiley lost last week to Stephenville, and I think in the 20s, it wasn't very close. It was in the 20s, but Stephenville is, I think, one of the best teams in 4A, so nothing to shake your head about there.
No. But common opponent, Coronado.
Yes. Legacy played with Coronado. That's when they're healthy. Wiley beat Coronado pretty handily.
Well, how healthy is Legacy right now?
That's probably the problem right now, I would think.
The $1 million question is how healthy are they?
Yeah, I think they're pretty banged up right now.
I think they're getting one guy back this week, but they're still going to be without some guy. The freshman quarterback played solid. Throwing him on the road against Kenyon Randall, that's not an easy task. It sounded like he kind of held his own, so I think you kind of build off that.
These teams, I'll part one of them, we needed open week just to heal up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Legacy's in deep need of some healing time.
Yeah,
sure.
and that's the thing about those big districts. You may not get your open week for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and going to Wiley, it's a tough place. They have a lot of tradition out there, and all. I'm pulling for LJ and the Leopards, but I think that Wiley might have a little too much for them out there in Abilene.
I was talking to someone today, and I was like, they just need a good half. After the last couple weeks, be in a, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we're in this game,
right,
I mean, because friendship kind of got away.
And losing the friendship is
no, there's nothing wrong with that.
Very, very solid football team.
But I think Randall got on them early, and that game got away a little bit early. So if you can just be in a game,
definitely played a solid schedule.
Oh, probably the best non-district, pound for pound of any area team. I know we've had some smaller schools play some good teams too. Windthorst, Seaviews, I feel like played it pretty good. But really, when it comes down to a 6A team like Friendship, Randall's a 4A kind of powerhouse. Mm-hmm. Tascosa, we know how good they've been.
Yeah, we see them every year at the stadium.
Round, 2-3 rounds.
Yeah.
Coronado was kind of their one team, and they've been traditionally solid. I think they've been a little down, and they're okay. I mean, and that's a game that they were, that could have gone either way.
Yeah,
so,
and they're a bigger school.
Yeah, 581.
I just think that they need that. They need a bye week coming, and they need it quick.
I think they get Lubbock Cooper next week, so it's the bye week's coming, but
there's no easy one in that district.
That's a tough district. That's a tough district, and winning at Wiley makes it even harder. But I'm gonna pull for Legacy. I think Wiley's got the edge.
Yep, I agree.
All right, moving on. I hope I didn't skip anybody, but moving on to Burke Burnett 1-3 at Jacksboro 3-1. Jacksboro coming off
a loss to Jim Ned.
Yeah, Jim Ned's they're not a weak team, so it's not like Jacksboro got to hang their head in shame. They got beat by a good team, and we've talked about it many times. Sometimes a loss against a good team makes you a better team in the long run.
Oh, for sure. And I think this is a game that, that Jim Ned game is kind of open them up. And you've said this numerous times. Sometimes you start reading the headlines.
Yeah.
You start reading about how good you are.
And feeling pretty good. We're undefeatable.
Yeah. And then you run into a group that's used to being in big games and know how to win games like Jim Ned. And you get a loss there, and it kind of wakes you up. And unfortunately for Burke, I think that they're gonna get a mad Jacksboro.
Yeah, catching Jacksboro at the wrong time.
I want to say this is Burke's homecoming too, and that's not. I mean, you got to play someone on your homecoming, but I think Jacksboro. I saw them play Peaster, beat Peaster by about 20. Kind of in control of that game, but played pretty well, but not their best probably. And so I wasn't shocked that I figured Jim Ned would be tougher than Peaster, but they got too much talent on that team. I mean, that probably woke them up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And really, that Jim Ned game wasn't as close as the 1 point differential.
They scored twice in the last minute, including the last play.
Yeah.
Sometimes your kids do read the press, and honestly, sometimes coaches do. They're not that good. We can beat them.
But in one retrospect of them coming back and scoring that many points in the last couple of minutes, that's a teaching experience Hubble's going to use. If you find yourself down late in the game, you can bring that back up. I remember we scored, 18 points in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, if they would have pulled off the upset, it would have been probably one of Casey's best wins ever.
Yeah, a comeback with the amount of time that was left in that game would have been amazing.
One of my kids asked me, what are my favorite wins? Well, one of them was when we came back against Eastland and beat them 29-28.
Down 28-0 at half.
Yeah. 28, we scored right
before half. Okay, so down 28-0 late second quarter.
Yeah, and, for each of my kids, I have a different favorite win, but that was one of them.
So what's your favorite one with Jet?
We beat Clifton in the playoffs.
In overtime. And they were undefeated.
Yeah.
Yep, I was there.
Jet made a good run and got us in the field goal position.
Well, he had I believe, if I'm correct, y'all had to drive the field in like the last few minutes to send that to overtime. Y'all been up, and then they scored to go up like 21-14. We're going to talk about that bad backwards tap. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he's going to get too worked up saying it. Clifton's driving. This game's 14-14, like mid-fourth quarter. And they're going back to pass, and the quarterback gets slung around and launches it like 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like
it's a negative pass.
It is instead of being like 2nd and 8, it's like 3rd and 40 basically. You're not in full range.
The other part of it, I called it grounding, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he was outside the pocket. But
he was not. And that ball didn't get to the line of scrimmage because it went 30
And this is a rule. The referee actually called it right, but it's a bullcorn rule. If you hit the guy and he turns it while he's in the throwing motion, and the ball goes incomplete, it's an incomplete forward pass, even though it went backwards.
Mm.
And they end up scoring.
They score, so now it's 21-14 with like 4 minutes left or something.
It should have been 4th and 100, and instead it's 3rd and
7 or something. We'll look it up afterwards. There's Twitter, like I got the tape from someone on his staff, and I tweeted it. And I was like, "This is the play I was talking about," because it's hard to believe that.
That's
it's
crazy.
Still hard to believe,
But his son led the team down and tied it up, and then I believe they got a stop in overtime, and then kicked the field goal. They had a good kicker, kicked the field goal to win it.
Bunch of good kickers there for a while.
Yeah,
through there.
I'm telling you, life is better with a kicker.
Oh yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Kickers will wear you out. I was fortunate to have some, but you say, all right, on this kick, their best player's over there on the left side. We don't want to kick it to him. We want to kick it to this guy over here. He's not very good. And they'll boot it, and it goes.
Yeah, right where you told him not to.
I thought we decided, well, I didn't mean to kick it to him. This is what you do. You're a kicker.
Well, the Cowboys have a good kicker.
They do.
Speaking of kickers,
I want to see him try one from
right?
70. It was second most.
60. What's the furthest?
I think it was like a yard up or so. He hit what from 66 or 65?
65.
I think 66 is the record.
He's a weapon.
He can make it from 68.
Where was it the other week? They were
thinking about trying the 71 yarder.
Yeah,
and I think he could do it.
If the other team had not put the return guy back, I think they would have kicked it. But you don't want to give up a kick six that way.
So that's wild.
To me, they're a weapon. If you got somebody you can guarantee 3 points from, you take it.
Yeah.
And I have been accused of being too conservative. That sometimes you got to go for it. But to me, I hate chasing points if you don't get it. You get 3 up there so many times.
You get it while you can get it.
Get it while you can get it. The Cowboys the other night, it went for 2. And I understand their reasoning, but they didn't make it. They kicked those extra points. Things change.
That's right. I agree.
All right. Jacksboro's coming off a loss. I think Jacksboro's going to be – the Tigers will be on a prowl.
Yeah, I think they got way too much for the Bulldogs.
Vernon, 3-1. Speaking of they're going to be ready for Paradise. 2-2.
That's at Paradise, but that's a pretty
coming
game.
into the season, I said this is going to be a huge game.
Yeah.
Paradise has lost the quarterback.
Inside information.
There we go.
And not only did they lose the first quarterback, they've lost the second quarterback. Now, I don't know when either one of them are coming back. But they're on a third quarterback that has very little experience.
Well, and they graduated pretty heavy.
Yeah, they were senior heavy class.
They were pretty good. And, they kind of run that gunner offense, option stuff out of a pistol. And, if you got a different third quarterback starting week 4.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough.
Vernon's quarterback came back last week, too. I think they weren't thinking he'd be back that soon, but he came back only after missing the Seaview game. It sounded like they kind of worked his way. He didn't have a lot of carries or anything, but they worked his way back in.
Yeah, probably keep him from doing that until you have to.
Yeah.
Why would you want to get him beat up anymore? That's right. Just get him healthy because district.
And they're coming off a big win against Frederick, Oklahoma, who's usually a
56.
pretty solid team, but man, they
The
put it on
Bombers,
them.
they bombed the Bombers.
Yeah.
They definitely bombed.
I'm gonna pick Vernon in this game. I think Vernon's gonna get back on the roll.
Yeah, I think they're gonna roll up on Paradise, and Vernon's tough to beat at Vernon.
It's at Paradise.
It's at Paradise.
It's at Paradise.
No
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I like the run game.
They can get a cheeseburger out there.
Yeah, I like
Jimmy Buffett reference.
Okay.
in Paradise.
Jimmy Buffett
Yeah.
cheeseburger in Paradise.
I got you.
Lettuce and tomatoes, Heinz 57, and French fried potatoes. Let's go.
I'm gonna have to make this sometimes. I've started making waffle fries brisket nachos.
Ooh, brisket nachos are.
Yeah, I like
I will not
and
turn down
on
brisket
a
nachos.
waffle fry instead of chips. They're really good with barbecue sauce and chopped up green onions and some good cheddar cheese mix.
Yeah.
And I like.
Might have to try that next
A
week.
little bit of barbecue sauce.
Or we might have to have it when Zach comes back, because you know Zach will be
I was
back.
gonna say,
when it
I can-
comes- Zach's going to have to be back when it comes time for the who gets in with
Oh,
what
playoffs,
wins.
yeah.
That's
Well,
The points.
yeah.
I've gotten where me and Miss Tammy, we have a little bit of chopped brisket left over. That's our kind of go-to. Let's have some waffle fries nachos.
There you go.
I've never
I
had
like
them
it.
on the waffle fries,
Sounds
but
like,
I can.
sounds like I'll eat them.
Learned about it in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm always on the search for new recipes, and I've decided if I ever win the lottery, that's where I'm headed, Nashville. I'm going to live there. I love that place. I'll blow every bit of my money in Nashville,
Nashville?
Tennessee.
Yeah, and you also said if you won the lottery, I get to go with you. Didn't you?
And I didn't say that.
Oh,
I think my exact quote was, I'm going to be, if I ever get so rich, I won't even like myself, much less anybody else. I want to be that rich.
Be those
I'm
that
going to get the
recluse.
Trans Am rebuilt, and I may keep my house, but I may spend a lot of time in Nashville. I love Nashville.
yeah. We're going there for my daughter's 21st. That's what she wants to do, is go to Nashville. So we're going to go.
Can I go?
Well, I was going to invite you until you wouldn't let
Yeah,
me.
he turned
You turned
you
me down, didn't
yeah,
he? So yeah. So fair's fair. I guess you're out.
I've got a cousin that lives in Franklin, and that's a nice place too. They live in this giant house, and I thought about just hiding in it and just living out there. I love Tennessee, and of course Davy Crockett's from there, and he's one of my heroes. So
Y'all went to school together, didn't you?
I think so.
What's our next game on the docket?
All right, Owl Park's open this week. So Bowie at Peaster, 3-1, both teams.
Bowie, I feel like I didn't know what to expect from them. I think they went 1-9 last year. New coach, Coach Price does a good job. Had a lot of guys coming back, but sometimes you just don't know how that's going to build off of last year.
Sure.
And I think they're a pretty good team. Their one loss was Bridgeport, which that's playing up in the last few minutes.
It was a close game.
Close
It went
game.
either way,
Yeah. I think it was tied with a couple minutes left. So
and Peaster's got a good coach too.
yeah, I was impressed with Peaster and what they did. They were with I mean, that was a close game up until midway through the third quarter against Jacksboro.
Coach Owen is Mickey for coaching people. Mickey Tom Owens' boy, which I love the name Mickey Tom. That's a great coaching name. Mickey Tom out in Monaghan's. He coached forever and won.
Yeah, they ran the
Wing tee?
Wing tee, yeah.
Every wing tee bunch. But Mickey Tom he's a friend of mine, and so I like his son. Of course, I like the Bowie coach too.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a good game, and it just goes back to what we talked about. So, sometimes you just got to get confidence, and when kids get confidence and they win a few games, they can start getting confidence, and they become a good team.
Yeah.
If you go in and you say like a Bowie was, 1-3 or something, going in and not much
Be a
confidence.
hard to
it's
win.
kind of a hard winning game, but they've coming off. They're rolling. They're feeling good about themselves, and they're going to have a good chance in this game.
I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
Battle.
And just like you said on the confidence, when it's game time, when it's got to make a play, a team with confidence generally makes that play, and the team that's got a little bit of a doubt doesn't.
Yep.
And
So yeah, I think this is going to be a good game. I'm really pulling for the Jackrabbits in this one.
well, since Peaster's in our district, I'm pulling for Bowie too.
There we go. That's an easy one.
I want them not to have confidence.
I feel like this 4-3A district is because the other teams in this district are a Ponder. I think Ponder's got Boyd's a little down, but I think Ponder, Our Park, Peaster, Vernon, Boo. I think this is going to be a really fun 7-team district. I think it's going to be a fun district race.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
it was last year. Our 3 teams were with like Clyde, and Breckenridge, and Jim Ned last year, and it was kind of the same thing. You really didn't know who was going to win from game to game, and like Vernon beats so and so, and then Our Park beats Vernon, and
I think 2 years
Vernon beat Our Park. I guess
2 years in a row. I think Iowa Parks went into the last game of their district,
3
and if
years.
they won,
3 years
they get
in a row.
district championship.
And
if
they
they
lost,
lost, they get 4.
So I think this district could kind of play out that way. I think the Fern Paradise winner feels good. I think the Peaster Bowie winner feels good
So
about things.
when I say Peterson, I want them to lose. Well, we play them next week, so I don't want them to have confidence. But
Sure.
I honestly want Bowie to lose too, since we play.
Yeah, you need them both to lose,
I
right?
need them both
Get
to
a
lose.
tie.
Unfortunately, it's not
tie?
going to happen. Let me go back on penetrations back in the day.
Or first downs.
Oh yeah, even further back than that, huh? Wow, you're old. All right.
All right. City View 3-1 at Children's 2-2. This ought to be a great game to go watch.
I think if you don't make it out to Memorial Stadium and you want to catch a good game within 15, 20 miles, this is the place, because super impressed with City View last week. I saw y'all both out there.
Yeah.
I think they're humming right now, and I know Vernon and Our Park probably feel the same way. Like City View is got some really good stuff.
And it goes back to, you sometimes a loss does you really good, and I think that loss to a really good Winthorst team kind of woke them up and got them going as well.
And they've got confidence playing right now. I'm not sure they had it against Winthorst at the beginning of the year, but now they do. And City View's got one of the better defensive linemen around. He might.
Jaden Bradford.
Yeah.
And only a sophomore.
Yeah, sophomore.
Golly.
He's just going to get better.
Yeah.
And then they can run. And when you can run and you got a physical team, that's a great combination if you're the coach of that team. It's a bad combination if you're playing that team.
Yeah, I watched those guys Friday, and I was very impressed with the kids. Jaden Bradford kid is that's the defensive lineman that you're talking about, number 52. He is an absolute animal. We knew this coming back when he was young. I mean, he works hard. He has a motor that don't stop.
And it's not just him.
No.
guys.
I'm not saying that at all. But I was impressed with just looking at the defensive side of the ball. We know the weapons they have offensively.
Mm-hmm.
We know Malachi and Dez and Colton Barnett and all those guys, and Perry, carrying the rock when they need, and they got so much of that going on. Their line's a whole lot better. That defensive as a whole, I thought pursued the football, flew the football, played fast. I thought it was one of the better defenses I've seen City View have in a long time.
And they're so athletic too, so you can bring pressure without bringing everybody, and then you can kind of match up without having to double on some places. So you really can do a lot of things.
They like bringing pressure. I thought their linebackers did a good job the other night.
Yeah, and I think Trey Hansborough has, at the safety position, has really become a straight-up baller.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a ball hawker. He'll come down and hit you. He has a
Big
pick.
pick.
I mean, we knew and we knew what this kid could do. He was showing it every year. He's just getting better, and he's really proven
Well,
to
and
be
you
a
got to pull
legit
for
player
Coach a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Heath is dealing with what he's dealing with and still going out and going to practices.
Yeah.
My hat's off to him. He's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, he's done a great job with that
And
group.
I think the assistants have done a great job of filling in and picking up the pieces. And then I think the kids are playing for them, and they're playing with great confidence. I think Childress is a dang good team. They got a player hurt in a scrimmage, and he's not back. But I think City View's going to.
This City View's homecoming. Again, you have to play it at some point, which they've been on the road.
Yeah.
So you don't want to play you can't play homecoming too early.
And you usually don't want to play it in district.
And you don't really want to do it in district. So, I mean, this is kind of one of those deals. But, I just, if you start looking at numbers who's played who.
I still love homecoming.
Yeah, I do too. And our kids always played well on homecoming. A lot of teams think it's a distraction, but at City View, our kids just really played a lot better.
I'm a big believer. Sell that kid, let the kids enjoy it, but as long as they keep focused at practice and know that on Friday night the people are there to watch them play a football game and win it, they'll do with it.
Yeah, I like City View in this one. I think if they play with the same intensity level and everything they came out in Owl Park, I think they'll handle this.
Should be fun.
And they need, again, you got a bye week coming after that. Then the district matchup with Jacksboro coming.
Which is a huge. That's a huge game.
Don't look forward. It
is.
You're gonna have 2 weeks. You're gonna have 2 weeks to get ready for that game. Focus on the Bobcats this game.
Rudy and I were talking about that district is shaping up to a deal where I wish they would redo their district schedule right now, based upon a coach's poll. Who's going to finish first, second, or third, and play those games toward the end.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool to be able to do that. But
of course,
unfortunately, that's not how it works. They're going to come right out of the box with a big game.
Yeah.
And
it'll be a marquee game.
Yeah, I've already. That's where I'm going to Jacksboro.
Yeah, I'm going to be at that one as well. That's a game I might ride with you.
Sounds good.
I'll be playing Peaster.
Yeah, you will not be able to go with us.
But, it would be so nice to set it up where, and this is there may be another team out there that I don't know about, but it would be nice to have Holiday, Jacksboro, City View set up to play the district, whoever's the best.
Henrietta, have get the last four where they're the last two games.
Yeah. Where you could set it up.
So maybe a 1 and a 4 and a 2 and a 3, and then you try to set it up where that district championship game's the last game.
I like it.
That would be kind of a cool deal.
But that's not how it works.
It's not happening.
No. So they just can't look forward to that game and start thinking about.
I do think this would be a great test for City View. I think City View will win if they haven't drank too much Kool-Aid. But
read too many headlines.
But I do think this will be a great game. Stanford is coming to town in H-Town in Henrietta. 4-0 Stanford.
Really highly ranked Stanford, too.
2-2. Wayne, the rumor was Wayne might win another state title with this bunch.
The rumor is Wayne knew what he was doing when he came back to Stanford.
Well, I talked to Coach Hutch last year when he came in. I called on him out there in Stanford. And last year he told me, he said, we're going to be pretty young, but we're going to be pretty talented. He said, but next year our group it really resembles the talent of the state championship teams.
Yeah.
And so far, so good at 4-0. I've thought about coming. I think I'm going to go out and watch some of this game. I want to see the Stanford team.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot. I've talked to you guys a lot. At the start of the year, I talked about the Stanford Bulldog team. I didn't realize he's going to be here. I didn't realize they were playing Henrietta.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go see them. But on the flip side of that, I'm excited to see the improvements that Henrietta's made with the new staff. And finally starting to get the ball rolling in the right direction, because it's going to take some time to put your stamp on it, you know. And so, when you lose 1 or 2 games early on, that's kind of.
But 2-2 is not bad.
Yeah, with a brand new system.
And breaking in, obviously Blaze Deaton's a good running back, but breaking in a new quarterback, it's not like he shows up and we have all these proven pieces at these positions. They lost Essler kid. They lost Blevins. They lost some really good guys off last year's team. Well, and so it always takes a little while.
If the previous coach had thought they were going to win state, he probably wouldn't have left. Even though he has 104 kids, and I get it, he needs to spend more time with his family. I understand that.
Yeah, but I've been impressed with the improvement, and I knew you would see that. A lot of times when you get a staff in, it's new. You're going to see that steady improvement through the week. But
there's a big one.
This is a big game.
Henrietta better play great.
Because I stopped and saw Coach Mack, who coached on those state teams, and with Coach Hutch in Stanford. He's at Haskell now, and he was very high on him. He said he has a chance to get to the state championship game.
Them and Holly are in the same district, and they're both looking really good right now.
And the best thing about that being in the district, they're not going to see each other till the
regional final.
Yeah.
So the year that
I'm not sure if there's anybody else out there who can play with those two.
In one state, they were down like 2 or 3 touchdowns
to Mart.
Yeah, it just made me of course, I've known Wayne a long time, but that game just made me respect him that much more. He's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, does a really good job, and I'm thinking about maybe catching the first half of that and hoping that. Well, I hope Memorial's up by a bunch.
I think you got a 7:30 kick at Henrietta too, so I think you can get out there and have that 30-minute travel time. So
yeah, that's true.
And Henrietta throws the ball. I mean, that slows down the game.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably catch
I think you could catch both.
Catch both of those games.
I'll be in Peachtree.
Yeah,
probably checking out the concession.
Where are you at?
I am gonna go to Memorial. I'm helping cover for my Abilene buddies, the Abilene Cooper aspect of things.
Oh, Zach Wren?
Evan Wren, Evan Wren and Daniel. And we leave at 5:30 a.m. for tennis in Abilene Saturday. And so I thought about going to Seymour Windthorst, and we're going to get to that game in a little bit. But the more I thought about it, I got to get up at like 4 something in the morning.
Yeah,
and so I think I'm going to stick here. I do think that Memorial game is the best game. So that's where I'm going this week.
I agree.
All right. Moving on. 3-1 Holiday at Jim Ned, 2-2.
We just kind of spoke about Jim Ned upsetting.
It's a little bit of a deceiving record out of Jim Ned.
Barely lost the wall, I think 1 point, and then 7-point loss to Estacado first week of the year. A really athletic Estacado team.
Mm-hmm.
So
good Holiday team, 3-1. Their one loss last year was regular season loss was to Jim Ned, but Holiday needs an open week to heal up.
Yeah, they're pretty banged up. I mean, they have some of their really good guys out, and I know what you're always in that game before your open week before district. You're just like, we want to go compete, we'll do everything right, but we want to come out healthy.
Yeah,
and I know they need to come out healthy. That way, they have a couple of weeks to get some of their players back.
How to lose an open week? There's 2 ways. One is get somebody hurt in practice when you don't have a game. Otherwise, kids do something stupid and get suspended for the first district ball game. I've had that happen.
So I think this is still going to be a good game. I mean, they played without 6 or 7 starters last week against Burt. 6 or 7 guys out, maybe not starters, but players out last week, and still got a big win against Burt. Jim Ned's not Burt.
The one thing I saw Jim Ned, the box score, they ran for like 350, 60 yards against Jacksboro, and I was really impressed with the kind of Jacksboro's. Peachtree did not run. Peachtree ran for like 30, 40 yards against. So I was thinking Jacksboro run defense strong, physical, and then Jim Ned did that. So I'm interested. I think that's another, and they've seen a couple good ones, but another good test for Holiday's defense.
It is
against the Jim Ned run game.
If you drive out there, there's 2 places to go eat. One is Perini's barbecue or steakhouse, and I try hard to copycat his recipe for steak rub. It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
I love their, and the other is Joe Allen's. And
so you got to go in Abilene to eat.
Well,
Perini's is kind of on the outs.
Perini's on the outskirts, but it's worth going to. And if you're gonna,
and I'll tell you another one, Lytle's Steakhouse.
Lytle's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I
had Lytle's yesterday. I was in Abilene yesterday, and
there's a lot of choices, but I'm just telling you, Joe Allen's is pretty daggum good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I do like Perini's.
Yep.
Now my barbecue's better than Joe Allen's. No offense.
No doubt. If I go out to Abilene for some reason, I want a steak.
Yeah.
Daggum right.
I just want a steak. I want barbecue. I'll cook it myself, or I'll come eat Frank's.
Well, I can make
Dubs.
I can make a hell of a steak too. We're having Dub next week. Dub Ewing will be here, our special guest.
Yeah, secondhand smoke.
He is a champion.
Should we have like a cook-off? Y'all have a cook-off next week?
Dub
competition.
Well, Dub.
I'll be the judge.
You'll be the judge.
Dub is a heck of a cook, and he knows how to win competitions. Which I'm not that guy. I would like to, but I would like to know how much money he spends for a competition brisket, because I'm going to go down and buy the cheapest one I can buy at Sam's and make it great.
Got to have those sponsors.
Yeah, Dub buys those. I don't know what it costs. He has it shipped in from Kansas or somewhere.
He's doing the same thing he did when he was a coach. We're not very good.
Yeah.
We're not like they're way better.
When I was in Quanah, I was a young coach, and he was talking to somebody, and He was talking about how we weren't very good, and
well, there is a difference. There is a difference between competition cooking.
Yeah, there definitely is.
And cooking for to sell out of a trailer or cooking for your family. But I think I cook a pretty good brisket. Rudy's had it many times, and he paid me the greatest compliment ever. You don't need sauce for your brisket.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to hide the flavor, the brisket speaks for itself. I'm going to say that's pretty good.
Yep, that's how it is.
And
right?
Rudy likes my sauce.
And I do. I like your sauce, but I don't need it on your brisket.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, Dub will be with us next week, and because we have a lot of, it's going to be a shorter.
It's a lot of open teams.
A lot of open games. So we'll probably do a little bit more barbecue next week.
You bet. Maybe Dub will bring us a tasty sample.
Yeah, maybe we have to make him do that. I'll see him in the morning, so I'll let him know that.
Good deal. All right. So who we picking, Jim Ned or Holiday? I got to pick Holiday. They're my customers and they're my former team. So go Eagles, fly high.
I'm going to give an edge to Jim Ned. I think it's a winnable game for Holiday. I think if Holiday was a little healthier, I would probably pick them. But I think they're still missing.
Last time we were out there, the Eagles blew them out of their own stadium.
Oh yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which surprised the
I think
hell
going in, I think Holiday going in is an underdog here, and when I say underdog, is because of who they're missing.
Yeah, if you got the inside information, they're definitely, but they're going to play.
But there's not. I've never seen a Holiday team not come out and compete and get after it. And I think this is a good time. This is a good time that Holiday it's gaining depth for a playoff run.
Well, it's kind of like what you said.
Playing.
Don't get anybody else hurt. Try to get better in positions that you got backups in. So hopefully they'll help you down the road.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I think they're gonna go out there and play them really, really tough, and I hope that they pull a close one out.
I do too.
Oh, they'll have a chance for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I just got to pull for a Holiday. I live here. I pay my taxes here.
People know where you live still here too.
Yeah. Well, I digress. Let's move on. Windthorpe's 3-1 at Seymour. 1-3.
This is usually a game that you're expecting to be like a really, really good game. They've had some really good games in the past. Windthorpe's, I think, is the real deal. That Munster score that happened a few weeks ago was a little deceiving. That was a closer game.
It was tied at halftime.
That's closer than what it seemed. I'm not sure what happened at that game.
But Munster's a good team.
Yeah, I mean, Munster is really, really solid, and Seymour. I don't know. I'm a little surprised with the Panthers
a little bit
this
of a
year.
rivalry, and I don't know what. I haven't been out to Seymour, but I'm gonna bet. I mean, they may have gotten somebody hurt. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know with those young. Those smaller schools.
What I've been hearing is they did graduate their whole line last year. Okay. And the Belcher kid was like the senior starter but all those other guys are seniors too. So from what I've talked to area coaches, they're kind of missing that aspect of it. They still have Braden Lloyd quarterback. They lost their best receiver to graduation. They still have a couple of really good receivers. But it's how it goes. If it's tough in the trenches, it could still be tough for you.
Yeah, so. It's sometimes something that I always talked about as a coach, but sometimes you lose your leadership, and that is a tremendous difference. You've got to have somebody. Kids get tired of hearing it from the coaches. Sometimes I think you need a kid to step up and speak the truth. And
I just like all the weapons that Windthorpe has. I think Juicy Belcher's going to. He's just a sophomore.
Those Belchers are everywhere.
He's just going to be. He's going to be dynamic. He's already becoming dynamic at a young age.
Every time I pick Seymour, they get beat. So if I pick Henrietta, does that throw the upset wrench out there?
You mean Windthorpe?
Yeah. No. If I pick Seymour, they get beat. Last year was if I pick.
So if you pick Seymour, Henrietta gets beat?
If I pick Seymour, Windthorpe gets beat.
Oh, okay.
No, if I pick Seymour, Seymour gets beat. So if I pick Windthorpe,
you got me confused.
I think this is what I think. I think we're losing him, but I think Windthorpe a decent chunk better than everyone else in the district. And the district's better, and some teams are playing better than they did last year. But at first, I thought maybe this game could be like district title for sure showdown. And Seymour, I think, is going to make the playoffs. But I think Windthorst, that 2A district starting too. Okay. I think Windthorst is just a couple steps ahead of Windthorst or Seymour, Archer, Haskell, like all those teams, and so I think Seymour wins this game. Or
I think this district this year is you have Windthorst, and then you have everybody else, and I think everybody else is going to be one of those districts, kind of like the Owl Park district and things we were talking about, that any of them could beat anybody on any given night.
That'll be fun to watch.
It'll be a fun.
I'm picking Windthorst.
I think this will be a district that we might have to have Zach coming back and telling us who has to beat who.
There's probably some tiebreakers in this situation. And I actually wrote a story that's going to be posted tonight. I talked to like 4 or 5 coaches.
Again, if I just had the dadgum sign up.
We got you afterwards. But I talked to 4 or 5 coaches, and I said, not using your names, I hear these 3 questions I'm giving you. Give me your thoughts. And they all kind of agreed the same. Like some people are like, we're surprised with Monday and Petrolia. We're surprised the Electra's playing as well. You know, they were very open, I think, because they weren't attached to what they said. And a lot of people think this thing after 1 is up for grabs.
Yeah,
so.
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
We will get to some of those people, but we're going with Windthorst here. Archer City, another Archer County team.
Yeah.
3-1 with a good record. Playing this surprisingly 3-1 Monday Moguls.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that, you get some confidence, your team gets better. I think Monday's got a little bit of that. I think they did a really good job scheduling.
But when you haven't had much success,
you got to do it.
Yeah, we were there. I've been there, done that.
Me too, unfortunately.
And that's part of it, and that's just good coaching to put your kids in situations where they can learn how to win when you haven't. And I think Monday's done a really good job of that. But in this game, I think Archer City's just way too much. Coach Ritchie was on the show a few weeks ago and had talked about his team and how he felt like they're going to keep progressing and getting better, and they have.
Hopefully, Coach Owen has recovered from all the ribs he ate that night.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Coach Owen ate maybe a slab and a half by himself of party ribs.
He went.
He just kind of hitched along.
Yeah, he came around. He sat over here, and we let him. We asked him a few questions. That way, we got a little.
Between bites, he answered them.
That way, we had something to get the ribs. Ribs were really good that night. By the way, those party ribs were really good. But yeah, I think Archer City is just going to be way too much in this game. But I am happy for Monday.
Their quarterback has rushed for like 800 yards. Lane Smith, and I mean, it's not like just one big game. It's 200 here, 170 here, 250 there. They've obviously changed what they do offensively around him, and he's just going to keep on getting better. I know I was at the Anson game, which was their second game, in the press box next to some coaches, and they were a little frustrated at times because he pulled it or he didn't pull it. He's just going to get better reading that stuff. I don't know if Monday has an answer for him, and so I think Archer City gets the win.
Yeah, because when you play, those option teams. You want to play an option team early, because once that quarterback starts figuring it out, and he starts
gets those reads down.
It's tough. It's tough to stop. And I think Monday will have issues stopping them.
Option teams, they wear me out.
Yep.
The best way to play an option team?
Don't schedule them.
Don't schedule.
Or do nothing.
Yeah, just stand there. That way
that's
they can't
the hard
read you.
part.
Yeah.
You don't give them a read.
Yeah.
We used to do that. Of course, I ran it was a split, but when I played wall and there was such a big option team,
they're good at it.
I would teach my defensive tackles, and we would start it during 2 days just for them. We might not, week 8 or when we were in district, we'd have our defensive tackle try to hit the guard and just squat, not move, and it would take the read away because otherwise you'd have 4 people on the dive and nobody on the quarterback. So we just squatting. And he took care of B-gap for us, and it worked out fine.
Those option teams make you play so disciplined. I know I talked to Renner at Midwestern, and I remember going out to spring games and watching them, and they would be playing somebody, but they were going to spend 5 minutes every day in spring ball and everything else for New Mexico.
Yeah, Eastern New Mexico.
For Eastern because they ran that option, and they worked it all the time. Even though, because he said if you just do it the week of,
you don't get it.
Ready.
You don't get it.
Well, high schools don't have that option of really being able to do that too much. And I'm going to bet that Monday had they've been concentrating on wins, not on getting ready for an option from Archer City.
Yeah.
So I like to watch.
You know, especially in the smaller school, I think running teams are coming back. I think every year we're seeing more and more old school offenses coming back into play.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes it interesting. All right. So we got Archer at Winthorpe at Monday, and I'm picking the Archer County team. I am ready for the Archer County Championship. I wish they would let Holiday play again. But
yeah, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
All right, Era 2-2 at Electra 4-0. Talk about it.
That was last week.
That was last week's game.
Right.
Yeah.
So Era Electra's got the same opponent as our park. Electra's they got the bye in that district.
Well, I'm going to go with Electra.
So I think Electra should hopefully winning the bye week.
But Electra's had a heck of a season so far.
That Santo win looks better as we go because Santo hasn't lost since, and Santo's played pretty well. That first week, Santo was a little down last year, and so they didn't. I don't think they made the playoffs. So when they beat him at first, you're like, oh well, we thought Electra would get better. Santo, who knows? But now Santo's 3-1 and has been playing pretty well. And so that Electra, that's the best win out of everybody in that district except Winthorst, who they beat in City View, obviously. Yeah. But that's a really good win for them. And so Electra goes in. I forgot who they get next week, but I think it's like Petrolia. It's like definitely a game that they're probably a favorite in. And then they go to Seymour after that, and it's kind of set up for them to be going into Seymour, which is kind of a rivalry type thing. And they're going to obviously not lose this week. I think they're going to win next week. And then they're 5-0 playing a Seymour team that
every once in a while it's nice to pull for teams that have struggled the last few years, and the coaching staff have worked hard, and it's finally paying off for them. Man.
When they have 3 head coaches, and I know y'all have had other former head coaches on your staffs before, that helps.
Yeah.
Peyton Jackson coming from Quanah, Quillen's still helping out some there. I mean, anytime you have
Quillen coming back out to help football this year is huge, and getting Coach Jackson there is definitely a big improvement. And it just helps the head coach out a lot because I know he was pretty short-handed last year. And they got some good kids back.
Yes.
I'm actually playing in the Electra Booster Club golf tournament this Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out to Crooked Creek.
Find out
and I'm going to hit my ball crooked.
Bring cash.
First place I've ever
because
played at.
Nick Golson and I and a couple of guys went out there once during football season a long time ago, and they didn't take credit cards back then.
Oh yeah,
this was probably like 15 years ago, and so we had to mail them a check later. Like they were cool, they were going to let us play, but we had to mail them a check.
Yeah, well, it's definitely my kind of course if it's crooked because I don't hit a ball straight. I don't know where it's going.
First game of golf I ever played was at Electra Country Club.
Well,
yeah,
that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I hacked it up.
So I'm gonna take Electra against
Open.
Yeah.
Right.
They did beat Era last week too.
Well,
and I thought that was a pretty decent win. Era usually feels pretty good football.
Well, and they beat Patrol. Well, Era already had beaten Petrolia, by a little bit, so that kind of gives them, that lets them.
Speaking of Petrolia, Haskell at Petrolia, is that right?
Yes, that is right. And and I think that's a toss. We don't have very many toss-up. That's a toss-up type game this week. And I'll say this. I think sometimes there's games early on in district, you feel like you got to win. Even though we can still win 4 more games to make the playoffs, you got to win this game. I think this is if you win, you're feeling pretty good about things. And if you lose, you're like, man, we got work to do now. Because you still haven't played Archer. You still haven't played Seymour. You still haven't played Electra. You still haven't played Winthorst.
Yeah.
So you really want to be, so you're really wanting to be 1-0 after this game.
Coach Mack's a good coach out at Haskell. There's no doubt about it.
They play very physical usually.
But I do know this. Coach Blassingame is a good coach, too. He was a great assistant. So I've known Mac for a long time. Brad and Coach Wynn both work for me. Who do I go with? I'm going with the Pirates.
Yeah, I was in Mac's office yesterday and talking to him a little bit about this game coming up, and that's kind of how they feel. They feel like this is a game that, you probably need to go win.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to have, looking at forward, really having a good chance, you kind of feel like you probably need to win this game. He thinks it's going to be a game that goes to the end as well. Saying that, my pick, I think Haskell's coming off a loss. They're on the road. Petrolia's coming off some wins, got some momentum. My cousin's kid plays on the team, Grayson Elledge, had a great season so far. I like Brad and all those guys too. So I'm going to go with Petrolia. And this is a game that I thought about hitting Henrietta.
You really could.
And I could slide and hit
Second
Petrolia.
half.
And then I could catch the end of or maybe start at Memorial, then hit those two. But I think I might be able to get the triangle. We'll find out next week.
Yeah,
you got to tune in next week.
I'm going to be texting you Friday night.
Let's see where's Waldo? Where's Coach Hawkins? Which field am I at? But I'm going to try to. I think might be a little trifecta there. I'm going to try to hit all three.
It's a big game for both teams, but I also think this is a game that makes you better in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoever wins. District, this is all these teams are in the same district.
That's the hard part.
Romp. Well, that's my pick. Romp. Roll on, Mighty Pirates.
Okay.
I think. Okay. Sounds good though, doesn't
it?
And Mitch coached at Petrolia.
That's right.
I mean, it hasn't been that long ago. I mean, about 4 or 5 years. So
well, Mitch is.
He's another one you pull for.
He's a tough guy.
He's tough as nails.
His dad coached at Iowa Park when I was about 4 or 5, 6 years old. He was
1928.
1969.
Oh, close.
I believe his dad was on that state champion staff.
Oh, gotcha.
Long time ago, and it's one of the reasons I became a coach because it was so fun to watch.
I think on that staff over there, he has a son coaching for him, and I think Hutchison's son's on that staff as well, or was last year.
Yeah.
Unless he might have jumped ship and went to Stanford.
He went to Stanford. I'm not
probably not a bad idea.
I could see Dad getting son over there.
Yeah,
I can see that.
For sure.
Why not?
So that might be a trifecta. We're gonna have to talk about that next week. See if I made the trifecta or not. It's gonna be fun.
I hope you do. I'm just going to one game. Then I'm gonna come home, go to bed, get up early, and go dove hunting Saturday morning.
There you go.
What time are you getting up?
When I get up.
Okay, I'll already be in Abilene.
Yeah,
okay, as I say,
you probably will, but I am getting older, and old people get up
earlier.
It just happens. You got to get up and go to the bathroom. It's just part of life, and it takes it just part of it.
Part of it.
Just getting old is not easy. It's not for wimps. You got to be tough to get old.
My grandfather said it sucks.
It does.
When he was alive, he goes, "Getting old sucks, Zach."
Yeah.
Sometimes you wake up and things hurt for no reason.
Yeah.
You don't know why. Well, did I kick something or?
I bruise a lot easier.
I bleed. I've run into a doorway and I'll look down and my whole arm is covered in blood. It didn't even hurt, but my skin has gotten thin.
We've taken a little.
Yeah, we detoured off.
We changed.
As MJ Bear tell me, you got to get back on track here.
We don't really have to, but that's all I have down in games. I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Well, I see right there. You got Chico
and Alney.
Yeah.
My fault.
Okay, so Alney was on nearby last week.
Alney is only in a 5-team district.
Okay.
So 3.
There's been before in the past they've been 7 teams, but now they only have 6 teams. In
versus 1 and 3 Chico.
Who Chico beat?
Somebody. The Man. It's a TV show from the 70s.
I don't know.
The Man.
Bye.
I don't know. I think they actually beat a team, but I couldn't tell you who it was. They
lost
to Petrolia last week.
They're not in my barbecue area, so I don't really know.
They got a fun staff out there, though. Pete's out there.
Pete Hart,
yeah. Todd Matlock.
Okay.
Coach Sanders, who used to be at Boyd, and then Coach Williams used to be at Petrolia. They're all out
Gordon's
there.
out there?
Yeah, Gordon's out there.
Oh, I didn't know Gordon was out there.
I walked in there one day, and I asked them. I didn't know if I walked into the coaching office or if I walked into a nursing home. I wasn't real sure which one it was.
I feel like Gordon's retired before. I mean, a couple of those guys may have retired.
Pete's been coaching about as long as Frank.
You got to have somebody on your staff young enough to do things. I will tell you that.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm
not sure how many young ones they have out there.
We did a special team drill today where it's basically a punt or a kickoff coverage where we ran 4 people down. You keep him on the return guy on your inside shoulder and don't let him escape outside. And we had a young coach punting the ball to him. And he probably punted 30 times, and I thought I wouldn't be able to walk tomorrow.
No.
Not that. And he got warmed up and he was punting. I mean, he was hitting spirals and it was turning over. Then toward the end, I could tell he was getting tired, and I thought, I might get one.
Don't do it.
No, my toenails would be
quad.
falling
Yeah.
off.
So, with that being said, in this game, I'm going for Alney because I don't ever want to see anybody go over.
Well, they're not going to go over because, and this is why. I mean, they could definitely. This is a winnable game for them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're maybe a little bit underdog, but they get Abilene TLCA in the start of district coming up in a couple weeks. I think they go by and then they open district Abilene TLCA,
Well,
and I can guarantee you. I can't guarantee you they're going to beat Chico, but I can guarantee you they're going to beat Abilene
but
TLCA.
Then the rest of their route is
absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal.
But
they're in
I
there
agree.
with Stanford.
But if they can get 2 wins,
Yeah, that'd be.
if they can get back-to-back wins, maybe they can get a little confidence going. And some of those games that against teams that are average, they might get a little confidence.
He doesn't
build up.
realize who's in their district, right?
There's no average.
I'm
So
just saying.
Stanford, Hawley, Cisco, and Anson.
Well,
Cisco
as a
and
coach,
Anson.
I'm going to say if we can get 2 wins, see what happens. Let's
I just
get
feel
better.
bad for them.
they got
That's a brutal district.
and Anson may be the 4th place team in their district.
And
Anson beat. I saw Anson beat Archer City by like 20 something.
And they just beat Haskell.
Yeah.
If I'm an Alney Cub, I'm not throwing up the white flag of surrender.
No.
No, they're not going
I'm going to
to.
say we're going to win this week. We're going to win next week and see what happens. Get better and build on it.
Yeah.
And who knows, we might knock off somebody. And as a guy that, as a player, knocked off the number 2 team in the state, as a coach that's won a lot of games against people we ain't supposed to, those are great games to win.
They are. I mean, you have nothing to lose. I
No.
get it. I'm
You're
just
the
telling you, they're on a
underdog.
different level.
I'm just telling
I'm telling you, they
I'm not throwing up the Cub. I'm not counting them out.
I'm not counting them out. I'm just telling you, they have a
Plus, they
have a
might come by
brutal
barbecue.
district. They have a brutal district.
They are in the top
District of
heaviest
Doom.
district.
But that's why
that
you
we
play.
have.
That's why you play the game.
But I tell you how I feel worse for than them, and that's TLCA of Abilene.
No, I don't. They're a private school. If they don't want to play, don't get your ball out and say, I'm going to play.
I like it.
I'm not a fan
like
of private schools playing UIL sports.
Yeah, I get it, especially when it cost Hershey a state championship
Yeah.
in basketball.
Yeah.
You know, with faith, family, whatever.
Costs a bunch of teams.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's going to wrap on this week's show. Any good college games this week?
I don't know, but I'm pulling for the Red Raiders. I got my Texas Tech shirt on.
Who do they have?
Don't know,
Okay.
Somebody TT'd on
but
your shirt.
it might. But we got a lot of area players on that team, and
Sure do.
I love Texas Tech, and it was a good time, and I learned. I got a heck of an education. It had nothing to do with college.
Yeah, Cowboys are terrible. Longhorns are good.
Hey, Cowboys said today they're going to refocus. They'll be fine next.
Yeah, they were going to refocus this past week too.
Yeah,
They
They
were.
got to do that.
They did focus.
Not the best
in
start.
In the fourth quarter, they just forgot the other 3.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from
Learned to
Zach
tackle.
Duncan?
I just am excited that district starting so early. Usually in the past, we've had like maybe one district start this early. And so you're kind of like still waiting around a couple weeks. Do y'all like these? Like, ask coach. This is a good question. I was going to ask you this tonight. I'm glad we thought about it. Did y'all like having a 7-team type district, like a bigger district? Obviously, the more teams, the less chance of your playoff spots. But y'all were always kind of in the playoffs. Did you like having a bigger district, or would you rather have 6 teams, 5 and
Depends on how
5?
good my team was. That's the honest truth.
Okay.
When I first came to Holiday, that second year we got put in that 8-team district.
Yeah.
With Eastland and
And Cisco.
Cisco, yeah.
And Henrietta had
Carter and Fletcher.
2 or 3
and,
kids
yeah.
that played Division I football team. They weren't slouches. And Rudy's team was fast. All right, so we weren't very good. And the second year we came in fourth. And I was catching a lot of heat. And, I couldn't help but think, if I'm not in an 8-team district, or I'm in a 6-team district with just Henrietta and them, I pick up 2 non-district games that I win. And a lot of people are happy.
Yeah.
Because my record gets 2 more wins.
And you maybe have a better chance at a first-round playoff win than you did when you finished 4th or whatever as well.
Now, later in my career, when it became hard, because we were pretty good and it became harder to schedule
games.
Yeah.
I was hoping for 8-team districts, so I didn't have to call Jim Ned or whoever, Snyder,
Yeah,
and ride a bus for 3 hours to go play that game. I just wanted somebody from the area to play me.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's the same. I mean, if you got a good group, and it gets harder. You know, we developed our program from shambles to building it to where it's at now, and you know, it was early on. It's easy to find games, and,
Yeah.
and the better you get, it's harder to find games. And then at the 3A district that we were in, it's hard to find games because everybody around you is in your district, or they won't play you.
Yeah, like our park and City View hadn't played until this year, and
Yeah.
obviously Vernon and City View, I think traditionally, like it just kind of started a little while ago.
From 4A coaches don't like to play 3A coaches because it's a no win for them. If they win the game,
They're supposed to.
and this is how I always felt. If as a 3A coach, if I was playing a 2A coach, and Withor's a great example. Withor's a good program. If they beat me, I got beat by a 2A school. If I beat them, I was supposed to beat them.
Yeah,
And you know, the thing about playing Withor's, they were always such a quality opponent that, and the reason he would play us is because he couldn't find anybody.
yeah.
Nobody won't play
But
them.
I always thought it made us a better team. I always tried to look at that too. I want to play a non-district schedule that got me ready to play a district schedule and possibly a playoff schedule. I wasn't necessarily worried about how many wins I got as much as how good my team became before we got to the playoffs.
Yeah, because you want to fix your problems before you get to district.
Counts.
So you got to find those teams that'll expose some of your
Somebody,
problems.
you always try to find a good mix. Somebody really good, and then somebody. The rest of them, I wanted to play one cream puff if I could find it.
Yeah, you need that game
get
where
some third stringers in.
get some depth, some
'cause-
guys to play.
But
For
the
sure.
rest of them, I wanted somebody I could beat or lose to.
You know, when I tried to do my schedule, I always tried to find teams. So, you know, I always wanted to find a real good run team because I need to get ready for you guys wing tee.
Which
So,
that was another problem we had. People
No
didn't
one,
like-
no one wants to
they
play the
don't
wing
play
tee.
wing tee because they
Yeah.
weren't going to play anybody else. They
Yeah.
play randomly.
yeah, so I would try to find a good run team to play. That way I could get ready for the physicalness of holiday and how they were going to run the wing tee. Then I wanted a passing team to get ready for the Henriettas, somebody maybe with a running quarterback to get ready for Coach West and his guys that he had going out there all those times. And then we get we get a couple of curveballs thrown throughout the years where we rode that Cisco Eastland. Then we roll back with Gunner, and so man, you just never knew
But
what you're going to do on that next realignment.
Yeah,
But that's kind of how I did my schedule. I wanted that cream puff game where I knew I'm going to get a lot of kids in. We're going to play a lot of people. We show up, we're going to win. And then we wanted to find some teams to get us ready for the
when
district.
Gunner got into our district, I knew how hard it was going to be. But looking back on it, I always thought playing them in district made us a better football team.
you told me that. You said that y'all always fared better against them in the state quarterfinals those years you'd played them in district
And
than before because you'd already kind of seen it.
of course, Rudy's team that year, they almost beat them, was a good team anyway. But I thought that made y'all a better team that year, too.
Yeah.
We
That
both
was the year
lost
they
to
won a
them.
state. They won a
They won
state championship
state.
that year.
But, if you got to play some good opponents somewhere. So, I guess
You can't play, nobody and then roll up and get somebody that's going to really hit you in the face. You have to be hit in your face before you get to that point.
Yeah, and you got to be able to respond to
That's
it.
right.
And, so, the answer to the question depends on how good I was going to be. If
I
I
gotcha.
thought I was going to be bad, I wanted a 6-team district and schedule somebody I can beat. If I thought I was going to be good, let the UIL schedule me and
Go from there.
go from there.
Well, I can't remember, like, legitimately half of our area 11-man teams are already in district. Now, our park and Electra are off, but their districts are starting. I mean, there's still a holiday district that's 6 teams. There's still a couple others, but, I mean, it really is.
Now, where the problem comes in those big district games is where you draw that bye at.
Yeah, if you get the week 11
You
bye.
have the last week bye, and now that's not good because now you're not playing
Especially-
right before a playoff game.
Especially if you're in a district that you're head and shoulders above the rest. We
Yeah.
Back when they took 3 teams, we were at Colorado City. My oldest son's senior year, we were 10-0, and we had a week 10 bye. So we had gone to Alpine, which we needed to buy after that because we were tired from getting home at 4 in the morning from a district ball game. But we played Kermit the last game of the season, and their coaching staff had already decided they were leaving. And they didn't work that week. They put on dive. And we were a good defense, and they had like 0 yards, and we beat them. Before the second quarter was over, I was subbing. I played every kid I had because we were killing them. And, all right, first by district that year, because there was 3 teams, if you're Division I, you got to buy.
You had to buy, yeah.
Seymour ran into that.
Seymour ran into the back-to-back bye weeks. They had the Week 11 bye and then the first round bye. So 2 years in a row.
We're playing,
and it hurt them. I think they lost.
Both times.
We're playing Chuck Lipsey's team, and he was at Bangs, and he beat somebody to get into our bracket. I don't remember who, Breckenridge or somebody. Coach Lipsey is a great coach. We go play. We're in the area around, and we go play them. We jump on them. We're kicking their tail. My kids got tired. By halftime, we were worn out because we hadn't played a full game since week 5 when we played or week 6 since we played ball for the district title.
I remember those years with Seymour.
Seymour, it happened the first time because you go bye week, and then you play. So basically, it's 3 full weeks because you go. And so then I think that next year, like they had a big scrimmage Friday night. Like we're acting like it's a game night. And then that was the year snow pushed stuff back to like Monday or Tuesday. Like that was that year where bad weather happened. Yeah. And so now all of a sudden they're almost going like 3.5 weeks without playing. They lost both times. Once definitely as a favorite.
And that's
killer.
I mean, that's why I always hated that first district game because you had the bye. But one year we changed our bye.
Yeah,
we put it a week earlier. We played a game before district. I don't like the bye.
I don't like the bye before district either.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've never, and thankfully I won most of them, but I did not. I always thought my teams played flat the week after a bye.
Well, it's just getting back into it. You hadn't been wide open. You hadn't hit nobody basically in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
if you have an easier game, you feel like, hey, this will get us in the group. But like
Cityview,
Jacksboro, that they're both going to be on a bye week next week.
Both groups are going to be on a bye week. And I really wish they would move that game with both being on bye week. I wish they'd have moved that to a Thursday.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
I tell you what, I like Thursday games.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm a huge fan of Thursday games. That was fun going to Munster on a Thursday for the holiday game.
When Lewis Kelly was the head coach of the Lubbock Estacado
Mustangs.
Matadors.
Matadors. Sorry, I was thinking Coronado.
He played almost every home game on Thursday, and I always thought he got an advantage on it.
Yeah,
his kids knew how to practice for that Thursday game.
I miss no Thursday night games this year.
Memorial's now dead on every Thursday. It's always nice to have a few days. Yeah, Wiley at Hershey loved playing on Thursdays.
Yeah,
they got their lights on tonight. Band
JV
marching.
JV game.
JV game.
Yeah, that's probably JV.
Well, thank you, Zach, for coming out.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy it. This is so much fun.
We've gotten better. It was 2 hours the first couple.
I know it. We talked too much. Chase rabbits.
Yeah, we could chase rabbits.
I feel like we had some good talking points tonight.
Yeah, we did. We had some good points.
Well, I always have good points. When you discuss barbecue and football,
there's not a lot wrong.
No. Make sure you go subscribe to Zach Duncan's
Red River Roundup.
There you go.
Yeah, like, subscribe our YouTube channel, Coach Jay's Gridiron Barbecue and North Texas Football. Listen to us on the Spotify. I don't know what it good.
Facebook.
I put it on. I put it on Twitter, and I don't know what really you're supposed to say. Like, subscribe, and
yeah, we don't know that.
I don't know what it really does for me. Maybe somebody, if we get enough followers, we get a check or something, which would be nice.
We can probably split 50 cents.
Maybe.
Yeah, it definitely eat the barbecue. The barbecue's outstanding when you find out if the trailer's going to be somewhere. I know it's not as many as it place is nuts because he's got back into coaching.
This coaching business takes up some time, especially if you care about it. And
you want to do a good job. You want to go to a Peaster on a Friday.
Yeah, and if you love high school football, I'm telling you, go subscribe to his blog. It's outstanding. He does a great job.
I'm going to do it tonight.
We're going to get you right. We're going to take his phone in a second.
But other than that,
well, y'all come back next week. Love Ewing will be here, champion barbecue chef, pitmaster. Can you really be a barbecue chef? I don't know.
If they call it.
Dubby is good. I got to help him last spring.
He's got a lot of wins on the little barbecue tour.
Guns and Hoses thing over at P2, and I got to watch him, and he's definitely a craftsman. Just watching him, how he mixes his injections and the care he had for his stuff, I was truly impressed.
Yep. I'll be with him tomorrow. We're cooking 13 briskets, I think, tomorrow. So we got a big catering on Friday.
Nice. And then October 6th, we'll be at some big music event, Cowboy Church here in Archer County, and we'll be there till we sell out, and then we're going to come home.
Better get there early.
I'm going to have brisket. I'll have pulled pork, have brisket mac, sandwiches. Oh, it'll be worth eating. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe some sliders. I don't know. That made my
You tell me there's party ribs. I'm there.
You know, my party ribs did not sell at homecoming.
They don't know yet.
I ate them, and they're gone. I mean, I sold a rack, but I did not sell as many as I thought I would. The ribs are funny.
Yeah, you are. That's true. Ribs are.
Sometimes I sell out of them quick, and sometimes I don't. So,
well, I think sometimes ribs, everybody can almost cook a rib. Not everybody can cook that brisket. So
no, I disagree. I don't think everybody can cook ribs. I've had bad ribs before, especially those people that think you got to boil them a little bit.
No, that's a whole different topic. That's for next week.
That's for next week.
That's for next week.
If I ran for president, I think that would be one of the things I would put a law against: boiling ribs.
There you go. I agree with that 100%.
If no more time changes. Never boil a rib. That's a felony. That's like life in prison. And if you can't park a vehicle between the yellow lines, you lose driver's.
Yeah, I hate people that can't park.
Now, honestly,
A rabbit hole.
Yeah. We thought the show was over.
Now that my vision's going bad, I can't tell when I'm straight. I have to get out and look to see if I'm within the yellow line.
Get out and support your local teams this week. A lot of good games out on deal. I'm going to try to hit 3 of them.
I'm going to hit
Zach
one.
is going to go to 1 because he's got to get up at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Coach is going to be in Peaster,
Texas.
And then he's going dove hunting maybe the next morning.
No, I'm going.
He's going. But until next week.
I'm going to be at the Bar Lazy Ass Ranch in Rotan, Texas. Home of David Ball, the former home of Slingy Sammy Ball.
There you go. Well, good luck shooting them.
Well, sometimes when I show up for these things, it's more like, before we dove hunt, we need to work some cows.
Oh,
you got to earn your keep there.
Earn that food.
Oh, but I'm telling you, David's got a cook shack, and it's fun to go out and we'll talk football and we'll dove hunt and we'll end up eating a steak and hopefully ride the bus route, which I can't go into detail on that, but it is a good time.
Good time.
All right. Till next week.
See y'all.
See ya.